Meet Jack. He's a truck driver starting his day on the road, and what a beautiful day it is. Time for Jack to plan his route for the day. First thing to do is punch up a map of where he is now. Wonder what that traffic's doing this morning. Road closure? Construction? Uh-oh, that accident at the top might be on Jack's route. Better check it on the map, Jack. Yep, looks like a big mess, all right. Now, if Jack could just find an alternate route. Looks like 52 is clear to 163 north. Sweet! A few simple taps, one less traffic jam. Jack could get used to this.
What we just saw in the video was a portal in action. You saw the truck driver use location-based services in order to determine where an accident was, so he could reroute his truck to different roads to ensure that he wasn't held up in his delivery. This is an exact example of how a portal will be in operation using these location-based services, and is intended to provide a truck driver with a means to become more efficient in what they do in their day-to-day lives. What we offer today are some devices such as the display unit and the advanced display unit that provide messaging services to the drivers. What we're also offering today is the start of smarter devices such as the MVPC, which allows applications to be developed specific to what the drivers actually need. From that perspective, where we want to go in the future is to offer location-based services to our drivers via a mobile web portal, and that will enable the drivers to become much more efficient in what they do on a day-to-day basis. Some of the key features of portals are powerful search engines that allow users to access the data that they want to see, information organized in a different structured way from its natural form, which is pretty much unstructured, and personalization features that allow a user to customize the user interface to meet their particular needs. There are a whole slew of other features that are generic to portals, but the prime ones specifically are providing the information to people in the form that they want to see it in the most convenient way. The goals of the mobile portal project was really as a proof of concept, and we wanted to try and do three prime things. Number one is we wanted to prove out the technology. And when I say prove out the technology, we had some existing technology that we wanted to use to ensure that this portal could operate effectively. First of all, we had an MVPC. In addition to the MVPC, we obviously had the CE operating system with a micro browser. So we wanted to use that for web-based applications. And lastly, we operated with two TCUs, one operating as a modem and the other operating as a positioning device. So we wanted to prove out the technology and ensure that the technology that we had today could operate a mobile portal. Second of all, we wanted to ensure that the functionality that we're offering could be used by our customers and actually be desired by our customers as a potential revenue producing source. So we wanted to offer these services, and there are a bunch of different services that we're looking at, such as traffic, such as weather, such as where the nearest Starbucks is, etc., to ensure that those particular services were going to be of use to our customers. And lastly, because that's what a proof of concept is all about, we wanted to understand what the limitations and gotchas were relating to the portal. What things were needed to be improved in the future, what things were pretty good right now. And I think as we move forward with this idea, we really understand a whole lot more about the portal based on this proof of concept.
To build a mobile portal for truck drivers, where do you start?
The first thing to know when you design any product is who you're building it for. In the case of the mobile portal, we're building it for the trucking companies, our customers, but primarily we're building it for the drivers in the cab. For the mobile portal, the customers are the trucking companies, and their goals are to increase the productivity of their drivers in the cabs. Also, they'd like to be able to disseminate company information to the drivers in the cab, perhaps through some kind of mobile intranet that keeps those drivers up to date on the company just as they would be if they were like to increase driver retention. If they can offer services that are not offered at any other company to their drivers are going to stay with that company longer. Finally, they'd like to control costs. Any services we can offer to the drivers that saves the company money is going to be a big win for the customers. The drivers' goals are pretty straightforward. They like to make their job easier. Any services we can offer that will make their job easier, minute by minute, hour by hour, they will use those and they'll appreciate those. After hours, though, after they leave the cab, we'd also like to offer services that make their off hours easier to handle. For example, if we can find movies close by, restaurants close by, motels nearby, they'll also appreciate that. They're going to also want personalization in the form of perhaps their own email, their own calendar, address book, perhaps their own web links that they set up. And the key to that is that personalization has to travel with them no matter what truck they're using. They sign into a new truck, all their personal content is there waiting for them. Finally, ease of use is a big deal to drivers. They're not necessarily computer users. They don't treat this as necessarily a computer that they have to master. They like to treat it as a tool, an appliance that's part of their job and requires almost no documentation, almost no training. Well, for the mobile portal, Qualcomm's goals are threefold. We'd like to obviously increase our billable content over our network, what we send to the customers and their drivers. We'd also like to increase the sale of our high-end display units, which will be required to run something like this. Finally, we'd like to start generating revenue from advertising or other services that are linked into the portal. Given a display unit in the cab with a GPS and a wireless web connection, we started thinking about what we could offer the driver. What features would be both smart and useful?
To do his job well, Jack needs the right kind of information. The weather forecast, for instance. Probably a good time to check the weather reports, huh, Jack? With GPS, we can show Jack the forecast for where he is now or for anywhere up the road. The portal's pages are simple and uncluttered, designed for a small screen, wireless connection, and large fingers. As a professional driver, Jack doesn't leave anything to chance. Well, maybe a few things. Time to fill up. Now, where's the closest gas station? Chevron's not the closest gas, but here they've paid to be at the top of the list, a common way for portals to make money. There's an ad here too, a special offer if you fill up at Chevron. Another way to generate revenue without getting in the driver's way. Truck stops, restaurants, lodging, and all of them are smart using our GPS positioning. Coffee sound good? Closest Starbucks coming right up. And the portal isn't just for snazzy new features. All of Jack's existing tools are still there. Company news, events, memos. How can drivers stay up to date like the folks back at the office? With a mobile portal, Jack can get to information on his company's intranet. The portal keeps working after hours too. The entertainment and My Stuff areas help drivers enjoy their off time and keep their own records. See the green marker? Entertainment is a pay area. Let's take a look. This area offers news and entertainment based on where the driver is. Want to see a movie close by? No problem. Need a good local country station? Easy. Drivers also want to keep their own personal stuff close at hand. Personal email, calendar, address book, it's all here. Even a list of the driver's favorite websites. This personal content is tied to the driver's login. It goes wherever they go, even if they change trucks. So who pays for all of this? Ads and placement can pay for some, but the portal could also bill based on use. For example, there could be free areas paid by the company and premium areas paid by the driver. The mobile portal provides drivers like Jack with smart services that help them both on and off the job. Okay, Jack, time to give back the prototype. Come on, Jack. The other drivers want to have a turn. Here, let me have it. Okay, fine. Keep it. Now, what does this portal look like under the hood?
We designed the back end with two hardware devices that are sitting on the vehicle. The first unit is actually acting to give positions, the GPS positions, to the NMC, and the second hardware device has been modified so that we could surf the web. From the NMC, these positions are actually getting collected by a poller that goes out and finds out the messages for a particular device, and it puts it into a persistent storage, a database for us, and from that database our web pages are being served up. In developing for a mobile device, we had several considerations that we had to take into account. The first is that the device has a small display, so we had to think about how we wanted to present all the data in a manner which, is pleasant for the user. The second is we had a primitive browser, which is quite unlike what the user would experience on a desktop computer, and so it wouldn't have as many of the fancy icons and features that they would be used to. Third would be the connection speed. Again, this is not the experience that a desktop user would be used to. And fourth would be the coverage, because the vehicle, when it's out in the field, the coverage may be lost so that they would lose connection to the actual website. So with all these considerations in account, we tried to develop a portal that was lightweight and would render quickly so the experience for the truck driver would be the most optimal.
So we've built the first prototype. Where do we go from here?
The current architecture requires that we have two Omni Express units in order to make the mobile portal work. We'd like to investigate getting this architecture down to one. In addition to this, we want to take a look at potentially using Windows CE 3.0, a new operating system, which will provide us more capabilities to provide a more rich and better user experience. Another area we'd like to investigate is look into having data providers provide us a feed of data so we can go on ahead and make web pages with a more common look and feel. This would replace our existing third-party web pages that we would get from somebody like Yahoo. In addition to that, we'd like to take a look at some additional technologies that are out there to help us provide a more consistent and better user experience.
A portal in the cab, giving drivers what they need when they need it. Jack, for one, can't wait.